People identifying as different genders from the ones that are socially accepted has become a huge problem in our society. Although the Western world is starting to accept individuals that identify themselves as a different gender from the ones that have been followed for centuries, the rest of the world seems to be quite resistant, being upheld by various cultures, religions, and other social constructs. However, there is an organism on this earth that does actually prove that gender is just a social construct, as this organism has 720 different genders. You may think that even for the organism itself it would be quite difficult to wrap its head around so many different genders, but having no brain probably helps. This organism is named Physarum polycephalum, and it is identified by biologists as a self-sustaining and developing slime that can grow exponentially only using the energy it absorbs within the atmosphere, such as the humidity and sun rays. There is no specific date as to when or who exactly identified this slime. It just started appearing within the biology encyclopedia during the start of the 19th century. The organism itself was not analyzed or studied properly until 1930, when Frank L. Howard became fascinated by the way the organism was growing and the patterns it was creating. In 1931, Howard published a paper entitled The Life History of Physarum polycephalum, which can be found within the American Journal of Botany Volume 18. Besides the huge number of genders, what surprised Howard was that even if the organism does not have a brain, it was still showing signs of intelligence and even learning by following different patterns. Even if the organism does not have eyes or ears, it is very aware of its own surroundings and it will back up if it feels danger is in front. During the 1960s, people started calling it the Blob, inspired by a science fiction movie released in 1958 named The Blob, in which a similar alien organism was shown. Since then, many experiments have been performed towards better understanding the way that the blob developed and grows. It seems that the blob is very good at building passages based on the terrain it has available. An interesting project took place in 2009 where the blob was actually used to build motorways in England. The blob was set on a 3D map where it sort of identified the best routes of building the motorways based on the terrain. In 2010, a similar project was carried out with the Tokyo subway. A more recent study that took place in 2016 showed that even a brainless creature can be more clever than most organisms with a brain. The blob was subjected to different mazes and it managed to find its way out every time with ease. This is making scientists view intelligence in a different way. Maybe intelligence isn't directly linked to brains, but something closer to the entity that gives everything life. I presume you are still wondering how exactly does this organism has 720 different sexes, is it even possible? The answer is yes, and here is how it works. While human sex cells come in two types, sperm and egg, slime molds have sex cells with multiple genes that can come in different combinations. There are 720 different combinations that can come out, but scientists are still working on identifying and classifying all of them. Gender truly is a social contract which in prehistoric times wasn't something that people made a big deal out of. Even the World Health Organization approves of this. Our world is rapidly changing and many cultures, as well as religions, perceive change as always being a bad thing because it is different from their beliefs. We need to accept that our society is very much driven by social norms that will continue to become more complex as time goes on. Each generation is becoming more intelligent, and with intelligence there comes the need to present yourself in a unique way. If someone feels that they are of a certain gender, that should not affect you in any way, shape or form. If from a biological point of view a creature is able to have 720 different genders, then why shouldn't people be allowed to? If our world was created by a god, then he also created this brainless blob. Everything was created with a certain purpose, and this blob may just be on this planet to make us open our eyes to the truth within our society. A person identifying as a different gender is still human, and that intelligence isn't something that is dependent on the size of a brain. It is an ancient mechanism that all of our ancestors were born with, the need to be integrated within a society that forces people nowadays to follow certain social norms just to be integrated, no matter what they have to put up with. Only by being integrated together we can evolve as a society, and accepting some things as social constructs as one barrier to our evolution as humans. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.